Well, Pete the Cat's wondering what's going on. And what's going on is episode 498, I think. Possibly, I think 498 of the Garage to Orloff show. Still up here packing. Up on the 7th floor of the Garage to Orloff International Building of Trade. This evil, I assume evil, investor company is going to buy up the Building of Trade. And then they were going to rent it out. They're going to fix it up and rent it out, right? So they had until today to, they offered us a certain amount, and they inspected it, and they were going to get back to us by today. But they want now till Tuesday, so they're probably calculating up all the things they're going to deduct from their original offer. As far as, and that's not a good thing at all, trust me. So, yeah, so we're kind of at the, the story structure. It's like the third act where things start to get, before hopefully the nice final act where all is wonderful. So, there's a new Batman movie out today. No, I guess I didn't explain where we're trying to sell this building to buy another building up in Iowa, where I'm going to open a pop culture museum and a place where you guys can come and hang out to go hunt and fish and have a pinball video arcade in the basement. Then there's going to be a museum, maybe a floor or two of museums, and then up on the fourth floor. There's 4 floors in this building that we're getting soon, hopefully. That'll be where the private residence is of Gratu and the Missus. Well, so don't have proper lighting today again because I don't know where the light is. I've been packing, like I've been saying. So let's see, what have I got here? Oh, yesterday was a fun day. My battery crapped out far away from home in a somewhat dangerous area, but thankfully USAA bailed me out, roadside assistance. I live to suffer another day. I've been writing up an essay for Mike McCarthy's upcoming book about his like a coffee table book put out by Fantagraphics, where he wants me to talk about the Dallas group that when Mike McCarthy, the cartoonist and filmmaker, came to Dallas, and I met him and I introduced him to some of the people here locally, and then they in turn affected his work by, like my friend Joe Riley, who started the Hypnotic Eye TV show. He worked on the special effects on one, maybe 2 of his movies. But anyway, just talking about how these minds from different towns and cities came together in those days before the internet, when, now you hear a song you never heard before, and you say, oh, well, I'll look that up. I'll just listen to it instantly on YouTube or Spotify or whatever the heck. Or I want to order that old record or that CD or whatever. I just want to order a digital download of that song. You have it within seconds, or eBay gets it to you a day or 2 later. But back then, you hear a song, maybe a song from the 60s, you never heard it before, and you hunt that 45 RPM record down for a decade or 2 before you find it, and it was part of the, there was no social net, it was just part of the fun of the chase. Things are so easy for kids today to network and link with people all over the place. Back then, you had to trade audio cassettes and VHS tapes and send them all over the place. It's like, this is something funny or weird that I taped off my local television, or they ran my local TV stations running all these cool old 50s movies, horror movies that no one, and it's, oh yeah, I want a copy of that. You trade with people all over the globe, and that's how you network back then. Now it's just like everyone networks instantly, and everything's just available to you. Movies that you had to drive hours to go to some obscure video store to rent it, then you'd take it home and you'd make a copy of the cassette, because the cassettes cost $100 back then, because they didn't want you to own things. Anyway, so you're talking about the 90s, early 90s, before the internet came along, in this essay I'm writing. I'll read the essay to you when I get done with it. I mean, I thought I finished it yesterday, but now, Mike wants me to add some details about how I got into the weird culture that I'm into, which I describe as the stuff your mothers always threw away. My mother actually didn't throw stuff away. She wasn't like confiscating stuff and throwing it away. Luckily, I didn't have one of those mothers, but she was very much a gatekeeper. And when I found a Monster magazine or an issue of Mad magazine on the newsstand when I was like under 10, I'd have to, show it to her, and she'd flip through it, make sure it's okay, and if it wasn't, she said, never show me this again, So she, it wasn't that she threw things away, she never allowed me to obtain them. So, she didn't want me watching the Three Stooges when I was real little either. She thought I might imitate it, which I wouldn't have. I don't think I would have. And, she didn't like me reading Dennis the Menace comic books either, because she thought I'd imitate his poor grammar. My mother having been a school teacher until she got married in the early 50s. But yeah, my mother never threw stuff away, but well, she did one time. I had this King Arthur's castle that we bought when we lived in Germany. It was amazing. I forget the name of the company that put it out. Every so often I look on eBay and there's one or two of them, and I want to get one of those again. But it was on the back porch of the house, and I guess it had fallen into disrepair, and one day it just wasn't there. So I guess she chunked that, and I want that back. So anyway, that's standing. So let's see what I've got here to entertain you. It's kind of a dark day here in Gratouville, but I think David Wilcock is going to be doing a live broadcast today or tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that. I mean, things are as bleak in the world as they've been since maybe the Cuban Missile Crisis in, October of '62. So, although I don't know exactly how much what we're being told is true, because usually whatever the mainstream media tells you, the truth is actually the complete opposite. So, we'll see. Well, shit. I was at a place where they had $2 comics yesterday called Duncanville Books, and I picked up this issue of Cracked. Boy, this lighting is bad, isn't it? What's better lighting? Is this better? I picked up this issue of Cracked. No, it's not better. Biscuit. I'm going to stop cursing in here. This is just too much fun on this channel, I think. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, it's an issue of Cracked. Ah, this lighting sucks. Man, I guess I'll go get the light from the other room. I mean, got to do things professionally. My friend Gerald will be here later this evening to, man, I've got to clear this space out a little bit. It's like I move one step forward and then I move 2 steps back as far as packing, it seems like. One thing Gerald has to do is help me get this. Let me show you. You see this picture? I'm going to show you. Let me turn on the light. I took all the pictures off the walls, but I couldn't reach this one. I don't even know how it got up there. This John Wayne poster, Janet Leigh and John Wayne, jet pilot, Howard Hughes movie. Do you see how high that is up there? How did I get that up there? I think that my friend hung that with his ladder long ago. And so he's got to bring an extension ladder to get that picture down, because it is way too high up there for me to get. Okay, so we're into this room. I know there's a light in here somewhere. In theory, there's a light Where is that light? I didn't pack the light. I'm pretty sure I did not pack the light. Oh, there's the light. Okay. I was too young. Actually, I wasn't even born when Zachary was on television, and I saw Zachary as an older guy, reprising his horror show host act. And not only was I not alive when he started, I didn't live in the right part of the country to see him, even if I was alive. But I just thought, why was this guy so popular? He's so fucking annoying. And he's going, this little laugh, and now I'm doing it. Like, if it was horrible when he did it, why isn't it horrible when I do it? Okay, so I've got the light. So, yeah, it's a Friday morning here. And I'm sure by the evening, the new Batman movie will be spoiled. Every time I go to the internet, something will spoil it. But I don't think we're going to see that anytime soon. We have a lack of cash right now. Okay, the light. This is a radio. The knobs on the radio are the nipples. Can you believe that someone would make something this sexist? It's just shocking. Okay. Shocking indeed. Okay. Oh, right. Okay. So anyway, I got this for $2, and now I see there's a piece missing there. It's cracked number 133. Cracked says goodbye. Let's put this over here. I reckon. Jesus Christ. Everyone's going to make fun of my camera work again. Terrible. Terrible, terrible. I could have planned this out before I started the broadcast, but I wonder if subscribers. Okay. Very good. We've got a nice Batman angle since it's Batman Day. Yeah, it's Crack saying goodbye, and at the bottom, to the blues. Yeah, hilarious. This was in the $2 bin. Linda Carter, Jacqueline Smith, and Lonnie Anderson, some People magazine ripoff. Found some issues of Comic Scene that I don't have. These are fun magazines to read. It was a sister magazine to Starlog. They had Future, and then they had this magazine for a little while. I'm a big fan of Warlord, so I want to read that. What else is in here? X-Files. Those are weird caricatures. Only $1.99. Here's another issue of Comic Scene. How the Teen Titans Have Changed George Perez's Life is on page 30. I hear that George Perez is on hospice. That's a horrible thing. Crusader Rabbit. All kinds of cool stuff that I will enjoy reading at some point. Also in the $2 bin. I think I already have this. In fact, I'm positive I do, but I bought it again. Mad number 149 from March of 1972 with the Willard parody. Here's an early Sick from well, it's number 87. I guess when Lenny Bruce was still alive. It says, a wise father today who knows his own son from his daughter, it says. Okay, so this is from the 60s, the hippie era. Oh, it's a special nostalgia issue. That'll be fun reading. Sick is a hard magazine to find in the wild, at least here in Gratuitville. And this one's not in great shape. It's from April of 76, which was this era of Sick. It was a really terrible magazine. It really was poorly drawn and everything, but in the earlier days, Sick was more of a legitimate magazine. But usually it had a pretty perverted side to it by the late 70s. Got these little signs on the back. Let's see. I guess that's the dawn of the UPC code, 1976. Let's see what we got here. Parody of Barney Miller called Blarney Miller. Yeah. Actually, parody of 3 Days of the Condor. What? So the guy, I guess that's Huckleberry Fink, who was like their Alfred E. Newman, but by this point, apparently, they'd shaved his head and made him into this nude, weird character. I don't know what the hell's going on. It was Sick. I think it was maybe a couple of years later that they started putting a lot of kind of dirty stuff into their magazine in order to appeal to 12, 13, 14-year-old boys. Oh, here they're being put out by Charlton, so they have a 2-page spread of Charlton horror comics with little comments underneath. Oh, I see. So, like this issue of Ghost Manor, it says, I now pronounce you man and wife. You may bite the bride. So it's just, it's a real cheap way to produce a 2-page spread for the magazine. Just show some covers you already paid for and just put little snarky comments underneath them. Wow. There's Charlton. Yeah, see, Charlton Publications. Earlier, it was not a Charlton Publications. Sick. When it first started was. And Charlton could make good material. It's just. So anyway, I'm doing that Zachary shit again. What is wrong with me? Yeah, I'm just really nervous that they're going to cut us down on the offer for the house. And so if you guys wouldn't mind praying a little bit, it would sure be nice. Here's a How and Why Wonder Book of World War II. Which is also was a $2 book. Here's Raj 2000, also from that bin. I'm going to see what this is. I bought this not really fully knowing what it is. Oh, it's how strange. When did this come out? It's the Avengers Magazine, and it's like a magazine all about the Avengers. Oh, is it made to promote the movies? It seems like maybe it is. I thought it was an older book, but it seems like it. Yeah, I think it must be of newer vintage, and it just made me think it was older. Yeah, it just. Oh, I see. It is actually newer. It's like promoting the Age of Ultron's coming out soon. Yeah, I saw this, and it was less than $5, and I thought maybe it was a foreign reprinting of the early Avengers comics, because sometimes in other countries they would make things different sizes, and it turns out it's a little magazine about the history of the Avengers, promoting the second Avengers movie. But yeah, anyway, not too bad. Got 2 issues of Little Archie. Issue 51. We promised Little Archies a free lunch, but this is ridiculous. So in person, the Little Archies are chowing down. It's Betty and Veronica's hot dog stand. Always like Little Archies. And here Archie's saying, "Gosh, Mr. Lodge, if you think the last 11 songs were great, just wait until you hear the next 15. Yeah, they were all a little buck-toothed when they were younger. Maybe that's their baby teeth or something. What is this? I guess I picked this up at the counter. The Whack Jobs coming this summer. I don't know what that is. Okay, what else we got here? Oh, you ever see this book? I'm boxing up books. It's called Men of Tomorrow, Geeks and Gangsters and the Birth of the Comic Book. Yeah, there's all kinds of comic book books I have here that I forgot I had. Tales to Astonish, Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, and the American Comic Book Revolution. And there's a bunch that I've already packed. Here's a beat up copy of a Star Trek book from when the show was on the air. Good luck, Willie. Mrs. Gates. Okay, so this was a present from a teacher to a student. It's the Mission to Horatius from Whitman Publishing Company, 1968. This book belongs to Chip Joe W. Pitts, 1740 White Street by Sears, Alex, Louisiana. So, later in the day, I'll look up this address, 1740 White Street. It should be by a Sears, or maybe that building is still there. Just because I love to see where books that I own used to be, so it's always cool. Because now on the internet you can look up addresses and stuff. Oh, Confederacy of Dunces. A book that's never been made into a movie. Here's the 60 greatest conspiracies of all time. What is this? The El Paso Salt War of 1877. That looks interesting. What else can I entertain you with? Oh, still some more comics here. I'm going to save these bags to put kitty litter kind of stuff in. All right. It's Chili, Millie's red-haired rival. Here I am, the first girl on the moon. And this is who she's a rival of, Millie the model. This is issue 199. Gee, what's that new dance? It's called the elevator. No steps. Okay, Millie the Model. Here's a queen size special, the new Millie the Model. This cover is really great. Number 7. Millie, dig this groovy poster. Millie, where are you? And this is a great John Romita cover. Every kiss, every thrill from real life. Our love story. Tales of romance torn from today. Issue 10. Just thought it was a great cover. I mean, look at that artwork. If he leaves now, I'll never see him again. But I can't stop him from walking out of my life. The stewardess is got all these guys interested in her. Looks like one of them's Matt Murdock. But she sees the guy leaving the plane. That's who she's got to talk to. It's just such a beautiful cover image. I know it's not in good shape up there, and the letters are a little dirty. But I just felt like I had to get that. Anyways, when your battery dies right when you arrive at a comic store, and you have to wait several hours for the tow truck to come, and the tow truck actually was able to start my battery, and then I was able to get to my regular mechanic, and he put a new battery in. I'll sure miss that mechanic, because he's the best mechanic in Grotuville. His name is Muhammad. Texas Auto One is the name of his place. He's the greatest mechanic, and he's actually the guy that sold me the car, and then they put another engine in it later. But he knows what he's doing. He's fair. He's nice. Sometimes he'll do stuff for you for no charge, you know. And anyway, I was able to get there. But anyway, I was waiting forever for this tow truck to show up, and I'm stranded in a comic store. And I go back and I keep finding things, and it's not good. I love this red cover for Rawhide Kid, number 61. Look how slick I am, hiding the price tag. You see how slick I am? It's number 61, by the way. Action-packed adventure thunders your way when the kid meets Wild Bill Hickok and Calamity Jane. I was buying a lot of red covers. I don't know why. Star-Spangled War Stories. Well, yes, I know why. They're beautiful. DC breaks all the rules with the battle of tank squashing monsters and the men who fought them with bare fists in the spectacular Divers of Death. The men who fought them with bare fists. That is great. Looks like somebody tried to sell this for 5 cents at a garage sale one time. I hope I don't already have this issue of Metal Men number 8. But if I don't, I have it now. What else can I show you? There's something I was wanting to show you last episode, and then I had to get this because I've got this Batmobile collection, and so I got this Batmobile, and that'll be added to the collection in a special place of honor. I'm about to pack up my Batmobile collection, so this will go with them, and it's a vinyl bank, just in case you're wondering. It's the wheels don't move. Well, while I was packing, I found some cool things the other day. Let's see if I can show them to you. Here's a cover from like 3rd grade. It looks like I was making a cover at school for Worlds Unknown, because I've got Unknown written. I think I was tracing that right off of a copy of Worlds Unknown. And the guy's saying, "Go, you prisoners, fall onto the torture spikes." Can you even see that? Oh. Guys are falling down onto the torture spikes. Oh, yeah, this light's too bright. Oh shit! Son of a bitch. But we don't curse here on this channel. Okay. At least we're still broadcasting. Okay. Anyway, I think I was inspired by a issue of, maybe it was Eerie or Vampirella, where Dracula was up above all these people on spikes. Yes, indeed. Here's a flyer. You asked for this, The Music of the Lone Ranger. This is probably following our release of The Music of Republic. So someone put out The Music of Republic serials and The Music of the Lone Ranger way back in the old days. I save all these flyers. This is from when was this? The night? This might have been. This probably was the 90s. Samuel J. Arkoff, or was it Samuel Z. Arkoff? Samuel Z. I think it was Z. Arkoff. He King of the Bee movies. They ran I Was a Teenage Werewolf, Invasion of the Saucermen, Reformed Skullgirls, and he was there talking about the movies, and I went to these showings. This is an ad for the original Subgenius book that they gave away at the Century Bookstore at the Forum Mall. Here's a book I put out in July of 1978. So my wife was 2 months old when I did this. She was born in May of 78. It's Kooky Cat Magazine. He's back because I used to do a Kooky Cat comic in like 1973, 74 when I was in San Antonio, and then I was bored in the summer in July of 78 during summer vacations, so I had a sketch pad and I started making my own comics that summer. So this is the state of my art skills in July of 78. Oh yeah, and I even have a little editorial about it. Bulletin. The first issue of Kooky Cat went on sale in December 1974. After the first issue went on sale, it was discontinued. Now Kooky Cat is back. We hope you enjoyed this issue and you will keep buying this comic because the best is yet to come. At the bottom of this page is a picture of how Kooky Cat looked like in the first issue 4 years ago. And there is I traced it right off my original 1974 comic, so you can see how my art style had changed. This was inspired. The National Lampoon put out a high school yearbook parody that looked very realistic, and it was a wonderful, you need to seek that out. It was really one of the main inspirations for National Lampoon's Animal House. But they put out that, and then they also put out later a Sunday newspaper parody, and it was the same town of Dacron, Ohio, that the high school yearbook parody took place in. And the yearbook was Larry Kroger's yearbook, so it was the character that was the freshman in Animal House, and it had and like Dean Vernon Wormer was. There was a Vernon Wormer that was a high school, I think, football coach in that yearbook. And it was the same people that did. I never really thought about that. Dean Wormer sounds like dewormer, for a dog. Anyway, they had a Sunday parody of Sunday newspaper comics, so I thought I'd do it too. So this is my my comics section. Dallas Daily News. I need to get this frame. And so I kind of copied their jokes, Instead of peanuts, it's goobers, featuring bad old Charlie Brown. I was trying to make it all depraved, like National Lampoon would have, where they're, instead of just, horribly psychologically tormenting Charlie Brown, they're stabbing him, and let me get this back. And pulling the football out from under him, all that. But here it's like a Caesar getting assassinated. And then I did a Hugo the Terrible, where it's all bloody, like and they're even doing the Chinese water torture there on him, and I just made it violent. This is also from the late 70s. Things I find. Well, I just showed you a Gold Key Star Trek comic, but here's my July 1978 comic, and it's got a dust burn, or whatever you call those things. But yeah, Spock is saying, set phasers on kill, he's dangerous. Yeah, issue number 2. This is Journey Where No Man Has Gone Before. 25 cents, number 2, July 1978. And then it says, No, Spock. He's not dangerous, he's peaceful. Based on the popular television series, an alien menace attacks the crew of the starship USS Enterprise. So, yeah, and you know what I used as a reference for the characters? I got out my Mego action figures, which we used to call Mego dolls, and I drew these pictures from the Mego figures. So anyway, this is that same summer, yeah, July 78. I was cranking out comics in July 78. I was very bored. That was the summer after Star Wars, and as I remember, that summer there was not as much entertainment. We had still 2 more years to wait for The Empire Strikes Back. Dr. McCoy's Melting. Maybe that was the summer that The Incredible Melting Man came out, and I was fascinated by that, even though I didn't see it. Here's the Quality Bullpen, because these were quality comics I came up with. See, that's my symbol, Quality Comics. And then I've got a picture of myself, our founder. And then I've got this editorial that explains, man, I ought to read this to you. It says, Important News, What's Going On in the Comics Biz by Kenneth M. Weinert. That's my actual name. Gratu Orloff, that's my Earth name. Gratu Orloff is my Martian name. It says, Welcome back. In 1973, an obscure little comic book company opened up in San Antonio, Texas. It was called Coke Comics Group. Sammy Glass was the head of it. They published comics like Kooky Cat and Crazy, but there was a problem. Only 2 people were in this company. Not long after it opened, I joined this group and made a comic called The Vault of Horror. On the front cover was a picture of a monster in a torn shirt, one eye in the middle of his forehead, fangs and blood streaming out of his mouth. By the side of him was a short vampire with an arrow through his stomach. On the front cover in big letters it said, More blood than ever. Inside were stories like Frankenstein Strikes Again, Monsters in the Deep, and a couple of other ridiculous drawings. By our standards, the artwork was pretty poor, but considering I was only in 3rd grade, it was great. Needless to say, Sammy Glass and Mark Krusenberger liked it, and I became a member. Within a month, I had worked myself up to president. Vault of Horror lasted 3 crummy issues. It was printed on notebook paper and put together with tape. The second comic I made was Supernatural Thrillers, starring the Headless Horseman. I got the idea out of a comic in my huge collection. While I created scores of other comics like Vampire Tales, lasted only 1 issue, Werewolf by Night, again this one lasted 1 issue, Batman likewise, Plop, 1 issue, Spoof the Baby Vampire, Kooky Cat, Ghost Rider, The Haunt of Bloody Horror, Star Trek. The front cover on this one shows a giant space monster getting one of his fingers shot off by the phasers of the Enterprise. Crazy and Blood. That's a good name for a magazine, Blood. A lot of the titles weren't very original, were they? I made many other comics, as did the other members of our group. I recall Mark making a 64-page comic called Dracula Lives. The peak of the Coke Comic Group's comic production was during 1974. All art comics were printed on notebook paper. I've still got every comic I ever made. We originally made these comics to sell, but when we got through, we liked them so much we kept them. We never had more than 6 members in our group. Occasionally, when we got angry, we'd fire a few members and hire some other guys who could draw a little bit. Our group was very secretive. We found an old abandoned clubhouse in a forest and declared it our secret headquarters. It was later destroyed by someone. I'll never know who did that. Too bad, though. It had windows and a door. After 2 years of this group, I had to move to Washington State. I promised I'd keep in touch by writing, but the stupid movers lost Mark's address. I assume the group went out of business, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're still making comics. If you're ever in San Antonio, you might meet them. Anyway, I'm reviving the group. It is June 1978. This time, instead of a ridiculous name like Coke, it's called Quality. I'm going to revise some of the old comics I used to make in my Coke days, but with better artwork and scripting, I hope, as well as create new titles like True Courage and Strange Science Fiction Tales. We want new members. If you'd like to join Quality Comics Group and make your own comics, or if you're just a good artist and want to do something creative, write. And then it says Kenneth Weinert, Quality Comic Book Company, and my current address. And then there's an ad for Crazy down at the bottom. I remember now, I had no friends then in July of 78, and I was just home doing these comics, and I do remember having all those wonderful friends when I lived in San Antonio. Then we moved to Washington for a year, to Tacoma, Washington, and then, moved back, and then we moved to Arlington, which I call Grotuville, and yeah, this is the like a newsletter for our Coke Comics group. And someone else came up with that name. He liked to drink Coca-Cola, but it's just making me remember. It's not an easy life being into the stuff that we're into, and I just didn't have many friends. And I remember the unbelievable loneliness that went into making these comics. That no one ever saw. No one ever saw until you're seeing them now, all these years later. And this has been my parents bought this fucking house that I'm in the summer of '76, and now we're selling it and potentially looking at getting undercut and how much money we get for it. And it's yeah, this is from the early '70s. Hey guys, this time we have some news in our Coke Comics group. So we made a newspaper, and this is it. The first thing we want to tell you is that Grant quit the club. He says that we make baby books because he didn't get to make any superheroes. Of course, Mark makes them, but a new person is signed up for the comics club, so he took Grant's place, and now we don't have to worry about that. And to top that off, Dracula Lives is going to have 65 pages. Yes, the maker of Dracula Lives says so. And it only costs 75 cents. Well, what a bargain. Yeah, apparently there's a little infighting within the group. This is Sammy Glass, which is now, I think he's like high up in the San Antonio school district. He became a science teacher, and which is interesting because he was always fascinated with Mr. Spock. And now and Mark, I got back in touch with him on Facebook a few years ago, and he works doing play-by-play for the local high school football team. So it's interesting that all of the kids that did those comics back at Regency Place Elementary got involved in education in some way. This used to hang on my door in Hampton, Virginia when I was in second grade. Wanted some more blood. Come on in the room so Dracula can drink your blood. I need to get that frame. Frankenstein lives here, and if you come in, he'll eat you. Yeah, this was on my door too, and when I was 8. The world's last superhero, Captain Bloodshed. Yeah, I'm getting emotional just remembering all these, the past. And this was a ad I was doing for Spinks Ketchup. There's the Spinks. It's because in junior high they made us make a newspaper for a particular time period, and they put me with a partner, and we had to make a newspaper from ancient Egypt, like if they had a newspaper. And I think this was a preliminary sketch for that. I gotta find that newspaper. I have it somewhere. It says, "What does the eater of the dead have to say about Spinks Ketchup? When I eat evil people's souls, I like to wash them down with Spinks Ketchup. Why, it's the best ketchup this side of the Nile, with 8 flavors. Souls go better with Spinks Ketchup. Copyright." And I have this ancient date. So I must have done some research into Egyptian mythology. I guess the Sphinx must have eaten people's souls. Is that? I didn't know that. I used to know that. I guess I forgot it. Here's a comic. Look, it's 20 cents. This is from that era when I first made these comics. It's Spoof the Baby Vampire. There he is. I guess this is my version of a Harvey comic, because they had a ghost and they had a baby devil and a baby witch, but they didn't have a baby vampire. So I thought I would do that. I guess that was my creative idea. So this is this is what we would do at school. We would take notebook paper and we'd make our own comics. Remember, my brother Michael drew that. He's disappeared off the. I can't get in touch with him, and my other brothers passed away, and my parents are gone. I have a few friends here locally. They say they'll come visit us up in Iowa. A few good friends here. This is a Batman comic I was going to do. I think I did it, but since today's Batman Day, it says, our night detective. Oh, he's knocking a guy's head off. Look at that. Here's the cover I was doing for in July of '78, again, that lonely summer, for a Western comic called Wanted. And there's a Wanted Dead or Alive poster on that tree. I don't think they ever put them on trees. And there's the same guy down below that's just been shot. And this sketch is actually somewhat sophisticated art for someone that's 12, however old I was. So it's two weird characters. I think the C stood for Carnage. I remember I had a hero named Captain Carnage. That was before Marvel started doing Carnage. So anyway, fascinating, huh? I'm gonna pack this stuff up now that I've shown it to you. So, fascinating. Yeah, so it's a lonely life when you're into the stuff you're into. And then sometimes you're so excited to meet someone that shares some interest with you that you're so eager to have a friend that you can wind up getting hurt by things. And then my dad being in the service, he was in the Army. When I was young, we moved around a lot. Like every couple of years we were moving, so I'd make some good friends, and then before you knew it, we were on the other side of the country or even on the other side of the world. So you start learning not to get too attached, I guess. Anyway, this inspector came in Tuesday to look at the house, and she spent a good 45 minutes going around the house. I wasn't expecting it to be a girl. I guess an inspector can be a girl. I don't want to be sexist, but it's just not what you expect. And she was very impressed by, the stuff that is not packed up. She was not offended at all. She was apparently into all of this stuff, because she was this young, pretty blonde with a real husky voice. You could tell she smoked a lot, but she had tattoos all over her neck and her hands. So she was into all this Halloween, blow mold kind of stuff. Anything she saw that wasn't packed, she was like, wow, this place is cool. But a lot of it hinges on what report she gives back to these BlackRock evil kind of, I don't know if they're BlackRock. I just assume everyone's BlackRock. This was your life. the jack chick track. Yeah. So, thank God my wife came along and I'll tell you, this is just not. I'm just really depressed, and it's really hard to move all this stuff. And man, and I don't know what they're gonna do with the offer. Are they gonna really lowball us? Ugh. And then if they do, the question is, well, if you had all this stuff packed up and out of the house, would the offer have been more? And you know, someone offered, well, if, I'll loan you $5,000 to move everything out of your everything into some storage units, and then you pay me back 10,000. And that didn't. Seems like kind of a not a nice. I don't want to get into that, but that wouldn't have been a good thing. I'm trying to pick up a little bit because my friend Gerald's coming. This is. I used to think Lindsay Lohan was going to be someone important. It turned out she turned into some horrible piece of trash. But when she was young, I thought she was going to be like an important person. Here's one of these digest things. And Kayfabe Comics channel was saying that these are almost impossible to find, these big raw books. I think this is the only one I've got in the big format. I've got the little digest size ones. It's got a little supplement of mouse. I wonder, these are probably real valuable, I guess. I thought they used to be everywhere. I didn't think they were that valuable. Man. What am I going to do? I don't know what to do. This local friend named Steve he said for me to call him or contact him through Facebook if I wanted him to come over and help pack. I haven't been doing enough packing lately. And I probably need to contact him at some point. But right now I've been waiting to get the offer back. And then I was, because I just turned on those cables. Oh, this is another one. The 10-Cent Plague. The Great Comic Book Scare, How It Changed America. Where do I put these fucking things? Another box. God damn, son of a... I wonder what would have happened had I stayed in San Antonio and not left in 1975, and those people that I made comics with when I was a kid. How would my life be different if I'd stayed in San Antonio, which was my hometown? Who would I, that's currently in my life, would I have wound up meeting? It's hard to tell. Oh, boy. And I hope people will come and visit us up there in Iowa. And I'm going to try to create like a pop culture museum and I have a place to hang out, but Captain Strangelife's volunteered to come and help us fix the place up. That's wonderful. He's like the greatest guy in the world, the guy that started all this comic book reporting on YouTube. I just don't know. I'll finish this mess later. My friend Gerald's coming, but I'll just tell he's coming this evening. I'll tell my wife that for him to just hold off on coming up here, because I just don't feel like finishing that room right now. Yeah, so anyway. Yeah, if you want to buy this house, hey, you can. It would be great, because then we won't have to sell it to some evil investment company. Anyway, I'll be seeing you guys.